Hello, everybody. Today we are starting one more edition of Let's Talk. My name is Mario Luna, and in the next hour, we'll be talking about this fascinating country in the East Europe that's definitely on the map of conscientiology events in Europe. If you have any questions to ask, please write them in the comment section. And as usual, we say that you have the principle of disbelief in usage here. Right? Bear in mind, it's very important. Don't believe in anything, not even what we say here in our program, in our debate. Experiment. Have your own experiences. All right. Today we'll be joined by some friends. I would say some close friends. All of them seriously engaged in the internationalization of conscientiology in this planet. Adina Oprea, how are you? Adina
Hello.
is from Romania, right? She studied foreign languages and worked in the aviation industry for the Romanian national carrier. She's been a volunteer for ASSIPI since 2020 and representative since 2022. Welcome, Adina.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. I am very, very happy to be here again. And indeed, to be here again with very close friends. And before anything else, if I'm allowed, I would like to thank ASSIPI and to thank you, Mario, for the opportunity that you and ASSIPI are giving us to talk about conscientiology in Romania with only 1 month before our conscientiological event that will take place in Romania in October. And it is absolutely wonderful that we are a community and that beyond belonging to one CI or to another, we are sailing together in the same direction, and that direction is the internationalization and dissemination of conscientiology. Thank you
Very
very much
good.
again.
The pleasure is ours, actually. Yeah, there is a synchronicity with the event in Romania this year, which will be amazing. Definitely. And talking about Romania, we have one more Romanian native here today, which is Ana Maria Oprea. I'm very happy to have you here, Ana Maria. You are our special guest. Um, Liliana is a frequent participant here in our Let's Talk as Adina is, but you are having your debut participation today. We're very happy with this. Ana Maria Prez graduated in cultural anthropology and Oriental studies. She's currently doing a master in cultural anthropology and ethnology with the focus of migrational studies and cultural, ethnical, and religious flexibility. I think it's at Bologna University in Italy, isn't it, Opera?
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I hope that I will say interesting things, and we will talk about interesting elements of the Romanian identity.
I'm sure we will. She's also Anna is also actually she participated in the Italian team for the translation of Thesaurus. That's very good. And our dear friend Liliana Alexandre from Isaac in Brazil. Liliana studied philosophy at UCL Lisbon, worked international trade as a professional translator and English teacher in Lisbon, London, and Foz do Iguaçu. She's a volunteer at for conscientiology since 1996 and instructor since 1998. She acted in Lisbon, London, and Foz do Iguaçu, right? Several CIs. She has published and he's the co-editor of the International Journey of Conscientiology. Currently, she's a counselor of ICNEO and a member of Isaac and CIEC. Welcome back, Liliana.
Hello, Mario. Always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me, and thank you to ASSIPI, and mostly to you. And yes, we're very happy to be here talking about Romania and talking about the internationalization of conscientiology, which is so dear to all of us.
That's very important. Yes, we have to talk about it as we are having interesting movement in some countries that I'll be talking about in a while, right? But before that, it's important to say that this debate is based on conscientiology. What is conscientiology? Conscientiology is a new science that studies the consciousness as a whole, right? Consciousness is me, you, each human being on this planet, right? The studies of the consciousness as a whole are based on the consciential paradigm, which is focused on 7 pillars: bioenergies, multidimensionality, as we manifest ourselves in multi-dimensions, plus existentiality, as we have our ritual lives as well, other lives besides this one. Self-research is very important to study ourselves for our evolution. Cosmoethics, universalism, and holosoma. Conscientiology has more than 20 consciential-centric institutions, right? Each of them is specialized in a specific subject of research. And ASSIPI, which stands for International Association for Interstitial Parapsychism, is specialized in the study, research, development, and the practical use of parapsychism. It's an indispensable attribute for consciential evolution, parapsychism, right? And the ASSIPI in English project is engaged in the internationalization of conscientiology and focused on promoting the study of parapsychism worldwide. So without any further ado, let's embark on our conversation today. I'll be glad to have you engage in our debate. So if you want to ask any questions and leave comments, please write down in the comment section that we'll read your question right to our guests today. I would like to start with a sort of Wikipedia information. It's very important because not everyone knows exactly where Romania is and some details about the country, right? Romania is a country in the eastern and southeastern Europe. It borders Bulgaria, Ukraine, Hungary, Serbia, Moldova, and the Black Sea. It has a population of approximately 19,892,000 people. It is data from World Meter in 2023. So I think it's a kind of update, right? Romania is the 12th largest country in Europe and the 6th most populous member state of the European Union. Its capital and the largest city is Bucharest. Having said that, I think Romania is very well presented now, introduced to people, right? So we can talk about it, right? So Adina, I would like to start with you. the thing is that I decided to have some countries invited to Let's Talk for us to create a kind of document about these four countries, specifically speaking: Romania, Germany, Australia, and Portugal. These countries are really stepping forward and ahead of other countries in terms of the dissemination of conscientiology in the world. It's amazing how conscientiology has produced teachers, events, courses in these countries. For some reason, they are ahead of the other countries, and that's very intriguing. How Romania is included, as it's a country in East Europe. Apparently, okay, it's a Latin. Uh, it has a Latin language as well, right? But it's very interesting. So I'm really curious to know more about this, and I'm trying to find some reason for that. Even though we might not come to an answer, a definite answer, but actually we can have some reflections to help us find the reason why Romania is so amazingly in the conceptuological map. So let's start with having the these considerations, to begin with, these considerations, general considerations about Romania. Adina.
Oh, yeah, indeed, it is amazing because Romania is a small country. Romania is an ex-communist country, and well, generally, people don't know many things about Romania, and it is a normal question where Romania has come out of the blue, but Romania is not out of the blue because it is an historical. An historical process that will give us arguments in favor of that level of spirituality that makes Romanian people get easier involved in different spiritual lines, and of course mostly now in conscientiology, because we are talking about conscientiology now. But and I spoke many times about Romanian people in terms of strong traits, weak traits, materthocene, holothocene, in terms of the national holokarma. But today I think that we will try to bring a little bit different approach, the historical and anthropological approach that Anna will bring, and I will try to be uh, a little bit more focused, more targeted, more punctual on aspects from the people day by day life, and I will tell and I will speak about the Romanian personalities, writers, philosophers, which who were involved in a way or another in the spiritual movement in Romania. And I think that we can talk about a level of acceptance of new ideas, and in our case, of acceptance of the consciential paradigm. And this level of acceptance depends on many factors. And at the individual level, it's, let's say, simpler, because we know that it is about genetic, paragenetic, and mesological factors. Yeah, we know this from conscientiology. But the question is, what happens at the collective and nation level? In other words, what are the elements that create that mesology? And how do we come to speak? In what terms we come to speak about the general features of a nation itself? Of course, that at the first side, we would talk about the nation as being a community based on language. Yes, it is. The language is an important aspect, as well as territorial, economical, psychological, behavioral, and ancestral genetic interrelationships and connection. In a word, therefore, we talk about culture and we talk about Romanian culture. And, well, historically speaking, I think that always we were a little bit not exactly different, but being at the intersection of different powers, of different interests among important countries and empires. Romanian people had that uh, ability to be very malleable, right? And um, for example, Romanians were Latin people when all around Romania were Slavs. Romanian were Orthodox when all the entire Europe was Catholic. Um the ancestors of Romanians, for example, the Dacians, were monotheistic when the rest of the world was polytheistic. So these are aspects that come to differentiate Romanians a little bit um, by the other from the other peoples around and other countries around it. Um, well, I think that well, before I start talking about punctual aspects that I think that are important related to the in the Romanian people involvement in conscientiology, I think that would be nice that Anna tells us the anthropological and historical approach.
Of course. Thank you, Adina. So maybe my approach is going to be too historical or maybe too objective. I don't know. So at any point, please stop me and tell me your comments and your questions. And I think it is important because when we talk about Romanian culture, we have two primary elements. And about Romanian spiritual identity, we have the mythical basis of our identity and the communism. And these two intertwine in a very interesting, historical consciousness, because it is important to start with the mythological basis, because even if it is no secret that in all post-socialist countries after the fall of the communism, there was a big revitalization of religions, it's important to understand how the Romanian identity was constructed and how it applied this change of religion after the fall of the communism. So to understand the growth of Romanians towards new form of spiritual research, because we are talking about this, that the Romanians are prone to new spiritual research forms. So we must first of all start with the unity myth. Because it is the base of Romanian identity, folklore, historical, personal points of view, because it is not necessarily the historical truth, but the important part is how Romanians view their history and how they view themselves. So I would start by saying that contrary to popular belief, the unit myth started as a reduction to the material of things, because it began with the first phase of communism, when the main focus was the creation of a unitary internal market, because the Romanian lands completely lacked a united market, so they really needed to do that. So first of all, it started as a material aspect of the country. In the second phase of the communism, when they started when the nationalist phase started, this is when the unity myth began to actually be part of the fundamental parts of the Romanian soul, air quoting soul, because the communism had a doctrine that sustained, absolute truths. So you needed a way to convince people to create a powerful national consciousness that would serve the ideal communist labor. So you needed a uniformed people, a uniformed nation that thought the same, felt the same, and worked the same. So this is where the historical alteration began, because in the schools they started to teach history, and they started to, mystify in a certain sense the Dacian history. The Dacia was the big, the most important thing of the Romanian personality, and they were superior to everyone. This was all from a propaganda point of view. So and this, created this unity myth that we Romanians are one Romanian, because actually before this communism, before the communism propaganda, the Romanians were actually pretty, sectionized. There were a lot of sections. We had first of all, we had three parts of Romania. We had Wallachia, which is the area where there's Bucharest. We had Moldova, which is the area with Iași, and we had Transylvania, which I think everybody knows thanks to the tourism of Dracula. And so actually they were not all that unified. There were a lot of conflicts between them because they were different people. They had different, moral principles. And for example, in the national history, there's this super important lord that's called Stephen the Great. But he was the Lord of Moldova. He was not a Lord of Romania, but it's depicted as the biggest Lord of all Romanians. But actually, he was the Lord of Moldova, and he actually kind of had a lot of conflicts with Wallachia. So it was not the reality. This unity began as a myth, and they constructed it in a very, systemical and structural way that it is now a part of our identity. So this is the baseline of the Romanian identity, and this is the baseline of how it is so predisposed to spiritual research, because Romanians truly believe in this, thing that is common to all Romanians: our soul, our principles, our culture. And so this is what laid the base for today's Romanians' identity. And it is basically a conjunction between three elements, because the Romanians were at the border between a lot of cultures. As Adina said, they had a Latin language, a Romance language, so they really wanted to convince themselves that they're not Slavs, they are Roman. So that was a big part of the Romanian culture. They really tried to convince themselves they're Romans, but they're not. That's not all they are. They are also Slavs, because we have elements. We live in this world. We live in this part of Europe, so it's impossible not to have them. And we have Turkish from the Ottoman. We have a lot of influence, and Dacians as well. So the Romanian, identity is based on the temperament of the Dacians that were very lively, and I think Adina knows more about this, and she's going to talk about it later. They had the abstract spirit of the Romans, and they also have the poetic gift of the Slavs, because the Slavs are very poetic and very spiritual, yearning, and so based on these principles, we can depict Romanian, spiritual consciousness and its characteristics, because it's important to understand how a Romanian is, even with its weak traits and with its good traits. Because first of all, Romanians depict themselves as being very intelligent, and very inventive, which is true. But there's a saying in Romania: intelligent but lazy. If only he weren't that lazy. He's a very intelligent boy, but he's so lazy. So like, this saying really helps you understand what's at the core of our existence. So they have this intelligence, but at the same time, they are quite we are, because I am also Romanian, quite, passive, and they lack a bit of courage and a bit of, the courage to do something if you don't have the support, so this plethora of contradictory and sometimes indigested traits open the doors for a profound wish of, self and spiritual research and everything. There's a very dear, I think, to all Romanians, poet and philosopher. His name is Lucian Blaga. He was my favorite writer in high school. And he puts Romanian identity very nicely, because he says that the Romanian is more open to cosmic, to the cosmic essence and the essences, because the Romanian's existence is something more. Like, as in, they are always in the search for aspirations, for higher aspirations, for looking beyond and across the horizons, and they are always moving towards something, and often in Romanian, when you go out after work and talk to your friends, the discussions are often focused around, I don't know, death and feelings and ancestral feelings that they feel in their body, which is indeed very, connected to the fact that they are always trying to see the other side, which is also, maybe the result of a philosophical and poetical production, which is in Romania, the romantic phase of poets is very profound and very appreciated. So maybe that's also an important part. And so we have, on the one side, we have this Romanian identity of unity, of trying to look on the other side, etc. And on the other side, we have the communism. And this is where the oppression of religion gets in the picture, and this is where it's the important part to analyze, because the oppression of religion during the communism did not result in a secularization of the society, but in an increase of private spiritual activities. It was only in the rural dimension that was not as controlled as the urban dimension, that people actually remained very into the Christian, Orthodox, classical, traditional way of being. In the urban places, they started to search for their own, spiritual beings and their own spiritual needs. So they started being forced to practice religion at home. They started to experiment and search personal ways of spirituality. And I found some very interesting statistics about this, because nowadays, indeed, after the end of the communism, we had a big revitalization of religion, because, of course, after years and years of oppression, the human being needs to, open himself up. But the interesting thing is that it's not concentrated towards Orthodox, towards Christianity. Actually, only 40, and 40 is not a lot, only 40% of Romanians accept traditional religious mentality. And out of these 40, 52% don't believe in hell, and 60% are not sure about heaven. So even if they are, traditional Christian believers, they are not actually all that convinced about what they're telling them in the church. So that's 40%. Then we've got, I'm going to read that because I don't remember exactly, 19% that have a liberal religious mentality, which means that they follow the general, Christian guidelines, but they question the morals and the limits that they impose to the Christian. And then we have the wonderful 19% that are non-traditional religious mentality, which means they are not Christian, and they, search a lot of spiritual experimentation, they are trying to understand, and they have a lot of questions. So they don't deny God, that they are just not, it's not Christian, it's not the guy with the beard and everything. So that leaves us with only 8% that are completely, secularized. Like they say, I'm an atheist. But actually, out of these 8%, only 1% define themselves as being atheists. The rest, they just say, I don't believe that. So they're not actually. Okay. So this, it depicts, a religious and a spiritual landscape that it's very, first of all, very varied and very personal, and very, based on the personal research and on the need of the self to understand the questions about everything that's not earthly as we know it today. So, the religious growth in the post-socialist Romania meant moving away from the traditional religious expressions towards new spiritual forms. So, primarily Oriental yoga, New Age, that was the first, like, maybe until 2020, because nowadays the things are starting to change a little bit. And this is thanks to the Romanian, identity that I've previously mentioned, that they need, like the unity and the poets and everything else. And at the same time, the interesting thing is that they have a strong rejection towards, institutionalized authority. And that is thanks, I don't know if it's thanks, but due to the lack of confidence in the system. And that is because of the communism, because they don't trust the authority, right? Like, because they are, manipulating us, and they are the invisible man who knows better, and they're trying to control our lives. So even if maybe the origin of this belief is kind of, disputed from a historical point of view, it's actually a pretty useful thing, because they don't trust what they're telling them. Because the Romanian, I think, has a lot, very profound need to experiment himself, or to know from friends or from family. Like, I think it's more possible to believe his sister rather than, the president. I'm just making an example. I'm not sure. And that is, of course, a consequence of communism and of propaganda and of years and generations of being, censored and not thinking freely, I think. I think that the interesting thing is that nowadays there are a lot of alternative forms of spirituality, and they are an important part of pop culture. So it's a very, present thing in our everyday lives. And the interesting thing is that these different spirituality forms are being implemented and incorporated in various professional fields. So there's a lot of, multinationals and firms and, working places in which the management has the focus of, bringing personal development and spiritual evolvement projects to the human resources, so that the people and the company can function better. So it's very interesting how these, new forms of spirituality are actually being implemented in everyday, professional areas, which is a very, I think, profound structural thing of a society. It's the basis of the society. It's the work. So when spirituality gets into the work, I think it says something about that society. And another interesting thing is that
I would like to
yeah.
We have some questions, and then we'll back to you. Write it down. What we have to say more.
But actually, I just have the last phrase.
Oh, really?
Which is connected to this one. I think it's worth like 1 more minute, because I just wanted to add that young generations nowadays in Romania search for the scientification of religion, and they want, their different spiritualities to be grounded on, a strong claim to scientific validity. And I thought that was interesting from a conscientiology point of view. And that's why I wanted to add that.
All right, we will go back to you. Don't worry about it. We will go back to you. We have some questions in the comment sections. But before the questions, I'd like to ask Liliana her view and perspective from Romania, because actually, Liliana, you started working with Adina and Irina as well in translating works and books for, into Romanian. And that was a very interesting movement that started some years ago, I would say. So what's your experience working with this
Yes.
fellow from Romania?
Okay, yes, we did came across because they translated the books, right? Adina translated the book, and I was called by Editage, which is a Conscientiology publishing house, and the editor of the foreign books was at the time wanted a meeting with Adina, and she was not very sure of her English, so she asked me, because Isaac works, we are responsible for the books in foreign languages, and we work like the right arm for the books in foreign languages, the right arm of Editaris. So she asked me, oh, would you like to come into the meeting? You know, sure, I will help where I can. And then that was our first contact between Ajin and I, and from there things started rolling really fast. There was a connection there that was beyond belief, and really not far from that. Then Ajina became a volunteer with Isaac as well, and we carried on, doing the work. But actually, our Conscientiology contact with Romania dates from 2007. And, and funny enough, I was the person that received, when I was in London, I lived in London for 14 years before moving to Foz do Iguaçu in 2014. And when I was in London, I received this email from Romania. I don't remember who wrote it, but I received an email from Romania asking us to go to Romania to give Conscientiology classes. And I said to our coordinator, we need to go. We need to be there. And she agreed, and they organized things, and they went to Romania in 2007, and then in 2009, and more closely in 2015. And there's things started rolling from there, and obviously now we are in a totally different phase, right? And we're very happy with that.
Very good. We have some questions. Not questions. Yes, we have questions, but also the participations of people in Romanian. So I'd like you to contribute with your opinions as well, right? And we have some questions here. We have the first questions from Annie K, right? She's asking, are people in Romanian too religious? I think that Anna talked about this, right? The religion, spiritual side of Romania. Not sure whether this question has been already answered. But anyway, what's the main religion from people in Romania? Are they interested in topics concerning the afterlife? So that's the question from NK, right? Adina or Anna?
Okay, I will try. First of all, yes, Romanian people are very interested in afterlife, or let's say extra physical and multidimensional life. Uh, and we can start talking about our ancestors, about Dacians, the ancestral population that lived in this territory. They were from the Getic branch, Thracians family of people, and it would be interesting to tell about them and to tell about their attitude in face of death. The Dacians didn't believe in death, and they used to be very happy, to rejoice, and when one friend, one a member of family died, for them, death was only a passage to a higher understanding of the human condition. And they also believed in the resoma and in the seriality of lives. Even if, as I told before, it was a monotheistic people. And also, I think that it is a question about occultism. Yes, again, yes. In the Romanian villages, among old women of the village, even today, there are pre-Christian pagan rituals. Yes, these are still used today, and they don't have anything to do with Christianity. But in our terms, we can say that it is everything about energies, about manipulations of energies, and creating energy shields, and connecting with beneficial energy sources of energy, and with helping consciousnesses, with helpers, as we say. No matter how the old women used to name the helpers. And another aspect very important, uh, Romanian people uh, have known since the ancient times to connect with nature and with immanent energies. There is a phrase written in their genetic code, I think, um, in their most intimate structures, which is in Romanian is "Codru este frate cu românul," and which translate this saying that the forest is the Romanian's brother. So this shows very clear that somewhere, somehow unconscious, without lucidity, Romanians have always known how to use the immanent energies, and they felt that they have felt that the immanent energies are beneficial energies. Um, Another aspect, I think, it is their innate idea related to the connection with the cosmos, with the universe. They somehow perceived the relationship between consciential microcosmos and the macrocosmos, and they felt they were part of the universe. They were very aware of the existence of the invisible world beyond the Christian perspective about afterlife. For example, we have an emblematic popular poem named Miorița. Miorița contains coded information about the soul of the Romanian people, about the mentality, philosophy about life in the Romanian space. And Miorița tells us, beyond a small story of love and a little bit kind of philosophy about life and death, Miorița help us to penetrate, shows us how the Romanian people perceived and understand the secrets of the world, and the nature of the cosmos, and it reflects the idea of the integrity with the entire universe, the merge with nature, as I said before. It is a mythical concept that integrates the human being in the universal circuit, and the being comes to see and feel themselves as an organic part of the nature and of the universe, of the cosmic world. And this makes them feel very calm and happy and tranquil. And it is a concept called meoritic space. It is a concept of Lucian Blaga, the philosopher Anna talked earlier. And he explained, for example, and even he made a graphical presentation of the Romanian, let's say, cultural space. I'd dare to say consciential space. And he represented this graphical as a sinusade. No, is not the correct word. Is a sine wave. Sine wave. A sine wave, very similar, almost identical to the sine wave that we use to represent the stereoaxis. Soma and disoma, right? Intraphysical and extraphysical, you know? And
Existential cycle.
exactly.
Multi-existential cycle, yes. I see.
Multi-existential cycle, yeah.
Yeah. There is a very interesting question from Ulysses. Ulysses, thank you for your participation. Ulysses Schloss is here. Is there any kind of ancient originary culture in Romania that can hypothesize extraphysical interests in the region? I think this is a very good question because we have been talking about the possibility of Homo sapiens was being working there in the area, right?
Oh,
Who would like to tackle this question?
okay, so ancient originary culture in Romania. Yes, the ancient culture in Romania is the Dacian population that I spoke before about, and yes, they were highly spiritual. They believed 100% in afterlife and um, in seriality, in seriaxis, right? And they were, of course, they had a god to believe in it, but yeah, it was uh, obvious for the ancient time. And I think that Romanians have kept something from that, from the Dacian religion and spiritual beliefs. Of course, there are conspiracy theories, if we can say, um, who and a little bit nationalist movements that talk about Dacian religious system as being a kind of proto Christianity, and that the Christianity had the root in this in their religion. But let me repeat that this is in the area of conspiracy, and it is not a thing proved scientifically.
All right. So we should go to answer a question, right? To go checking it now, which is very interesting. From okay, let me just place this one. It's from NK. Can you also say how Conscientiology be spread in Romania? How was your first contact to it? So, but before the Romanians answer these questions, I'd like Liliana to go for it, right? Why do you think Conscientiology is is going on in Romania? This is a question I'm also asking myself as we are working with
Not
them.
sure I'm the right person to answer that. For sure that the ladies there know a lot more about it and how this affects them, right? But as I was saying before, it was maybe after the fall of communism and this opening that Anna was explaining to us, and this need for finding alternative, not necessarily only Christian Orthodox faith and stuff. So this openness, reaction to the constraints of communism and opening, so that is part of the reaction, right? Opening to the new and looking for different options and different solutions and different approaches to spirituality. So may have led right to the interest in Conscientiology. And from there, which Adina can talk about it if she wants, if she can. There was a group that started forming and studying together, and then they still, Adina conducts meetings every week. That's 50 people, right? So that's it kept growing and it kept going on, and it's getting stronger, and hopefully will get stronger because, as I said, we've been there in 2007, 2009, 2015, and now we intend to do there in October to have field course. So it's mainly we are going to deposit our energies there as well. And we're going to make a deposit. Maybe because we owe something from past lives. Don't know. Because, for instance,
100%.
In my case, I realized that I have, talking about the Balkans and the Balkanic Peninsula, which kind of involves 13 countries. I happen to have friends, and especially since I worked in London in those 14 years, and I made professionally and teaching Conscientiology. So I made friends with people from most of these countries. So Slovenia, Slovakia, Bosnia, Moldova, Ukraine. So all the kind of Czech Republic, everyone around. Greece, obviously, Turkey, of course, as well. So I have friends everywhere. And it's very, very interesting, and there's this connection so that the helpers can work with me or through me to help and bring make some things possible, right? So we are very happy that we are going there in October. We will we have 5 days program, which includes launching a book in Romanian. So that's already our 5th book in Romanian. We will relaunch also the famous glossary of Conscientiology terms. And this is very interesting because it's our first glossary that is trilingual, not bilingual as usual. So this one is Romanian, Portuguese, and English. And I'm very happy that Adina made the effort. She really didn't want to lose the Portuguese, because we want to show people how there is similarity between the 2 languages. There's lots of things there that are interesting. And maybe even, incentivize more people to learn Portuguese as well, because they will have access to more information more easily and faster. But so we will have a book launch on Friday, and then this will be followed by 2 dynamics on Saturday, a field course, ASSIPI style on Sunday. And then we will have 2 days of sightseeing and psychometry. So one day in Bucharest and the other day in the mountains. So we are very excited about it. And yes, it's just 1 month we'll be there.
Yes, there will be a great event in Romania. I would like to go back to Anna. Anna, you gave us excellent explanations about these historical facts and this approach to why Romanians are how the Romanians are. Mm-hmm. It's very, very important to us to understand a bit. Yeah, I would like you to continue by giving us an idea, right? because Conscientiology is coming now in Romania, right? We know that the movement is going fast, but you said, the path, the religious path, that Romanian people had, especially going from an oppression to now something different, or the sense of liberty, right? But I'd like to ask you, still going on over this approach that Ernie Case put this question. It is, do you think that the lack of oppression and the path of oppression actually now is making Romanian people express themselves and reach this open-mindedness that they always had but could never express, and now you are open to find new possibilities, new paths, new ideas of spirituality and so forth? Do you think that Romanians say now, yeah, we are free to decide whatever you want to do, and conceptual is one of these things? So, is the Romanian people open-minded to these new ideas?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that the Romanians are very open-minded, and they accept, a lot of possibilities and a lot of, alternative forms that could bring answers to their questions, because Romanians, as we've all said previously, have a lot of questions and question themselves about their soul, about the afterlife, about this life, about energies, about whatever it is that they're feeling. And I think that it's a very, I don't want to generalize, but I think that it is a general thing that Romanians have this predisposition. And I think that oh my God, I cannot pronounce it.
Conscientiology.
Conscientiology. Okay, sorry. I think it offers a lot of answers, and I think that the fact that it is based, on experimenting and on the disbelief principle, I think that it helps people to, experiment and understand and maybe get the answers that they are looking for. And as I was saying previously, that people are searching for scientifically based, knowledge, since I think you guys, base your fundamenta on experience and on experimenting and on scientifically trying to prove. I think that it's very, useful, and I think that it is definitely something that could spread in Romania. So yeah.
We have a question from Romania. Irina Condruta is it's a close friend of us, right? Irina volunteered for ASSIPI for some years, and Irina is asking, during these years, what were the challenges you faced in speaking about conscientiology in Romania? I think it's a question for Adina, isn't it?
Of course. Well, I think that, this is a topic for long and difficult
I think
debate,
we
but
have 2
let's
hours
try.
in this.
Yes, yes, but let's try.
That
First
will
of
be
all,
a part two, program
yes.
two.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a part two, Romania part two.
First, identification of the intermissivists and gathering them and putting them together. In my opinion, this is the most important. But for the moment, we don't have all the tools. Probably step by step, we will um, uh, reach to have more Romanian conscientiology books. We will have many conscientiology teachers. For time being, only Irina is a conscientiology teacher in Romania. We need to be more to be
And
able to.
Gina will start preparing herself next year.
Yes, I hope, yes, but we need to be more to be able to organize courses in Romanian language for the Romanian people. um, another problem, I think, again, very important, to find the best way to help people liberate themselves. Not Yes, of course, liberate themselves from the religious paradigm. Totally agree. But this, in my opinion, is not the most difficult thing. But the most difficult thing is to liberate themselves from the syndrome of, I don't know in English, flying butterfly, buscadora borboleta. I don't know how to call
A
this.
butterfly
Butterfly.
searcher, I would say.
Butterfly seeker or something.
Butterfly
Yes,
seeker.
right.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this is the
Yeah.
most problem, to help people to fly from one spiritual line to another, and and try to pick up only what they think that it's good and comfortable for them,
Convenient.
convenient, and keep them in the comfort area, and is perfect.
Well, I
Eh,
think this
I-
is probably a phase when you come from something as close as a religion, like, Orthodox religion, and then you have communism, and then you have openness. It's a phase that, it's a process, right? That you go through, and definitely the intermissivists will identify with conscientiology, because there are certain, even sometimes words, right, that ring a bell and that activate our memory from our intermissive course. So, and one of the things that's very important that Adina was saying is books. The more books, and this is a movement that they've been doing. Adina, Irina, and more people. A movement that is very important, because if you think of it, in other countries where people didn't produce as much books in their own language, conscientiology books, the thing didn't grow as fast as it's growing
Yeah.
in Romania, exactly because they are doing this effort, and they are working with the extra physical very close. Because when you do this, you do mental somatic de-repression, and you do a very mental somatic connection with the helper. So that, this is a very important uh, base for the whole of conscientiology to grow, and for the to be able to call the intermissivist. So here's a little beacon. Here we are. If you belong to this group, come and join. Right.
Very nice. Well, unfortunately, we have reached our time, about past 2 minutes from 1 hour. But I can't finish our conversation today without answering our your Schmidt's question, which has to do with the next event. Can you tell us a little bit about Conscientiology volunteers' work in Romania, the upcoming events? So that would be a good topic to wrap up our conversation today. I think it's a question for Adina as well, because it has to do with the volunteers. And Adina, I'd like you to say, because it's something amazing, you have a group of 15 people, right? On
yes.
WhatsApp.
50,
So
50, 50.
50,
We are
yeah,
almost, yeah, we
50,
are almost.
50 people, 50
Yeah, yeah.
on WhatsApp, right? So it's very interesting to say. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. We have, so about conscientiology volunteer work. So for the moment, we are two volunteers officially working in Romania, I and Irina, and we try to develop a coherence, let's say, conscientiological movement here. And our main goal is to have conscientiology in Romanian for the Romanian people, as I said before, and to translate and to organize courses and to organize events. And uh, I um, I would like to be able to organize many field courses, because, well, theory is
Won't
great.
we all
We need to, yes, we need to
in
know
the
it,
future?
but
Yeah.
still we need more practice, and we need the practice. And our friends from Europe, teachers from Europe, are anytime very welcome in Romania. They are closer than the professors from Brazilian professors, but they are also anytime welcome in Romania. And this is a work that we can do and we can develop only together with people and researchers and instructors from Europe, from Australia. We have a lot of friends in Australia as well. And of course, from Brazil, sorry. It is a joint work, and I want to thank very much to all those who support us, to thank to our intraphysical helpers. And of course, we won't forget the extra physical teams that are now, I'm very sure, that are now very focused on us.
I would just
Very
like
good.
to add that, Gina, we cannot forget the people that are also helping you there and that are also ASIC volunteers, like Danny,
Oh, yes, right.
Elena, Lena,
Apologies.
Nikki.
Yeah,
Don't
indeed.
forget them. They're also very important.
Yes, I apologize. I
Everyone,
really, yeah.
Very good,
So
people.
Alina,
For the
Katrina.
conversation, I'd say that this conversation would take 2 hours. For sure, it would. But we have to finish this now. Okay, we have very interesting information placed by Ceci Spiegel. Is that how I
She's
pronounce it?
one of our volunteer, right?
Oh, great. Yeah,
Yes.
she wrote something about the Dachshunds, and all the informations are in the comment section. So if you want to check it out, please read. We won't have time to read everything that you wrote, unfortunately, because our time is over now. I would like to go for the final comments. Anna, thank you very much for your participation. Your comments, what you said was remarkable. It's very, very important for us to have an idea of what Romanians are, and I thank you so much for that. Let's
Thank
go
you
for
very much for having me.
All right. Would you like to say something to close your participation?
I just want to say thank you, and it was very interesting to be here with you guys and to debate all the things that we've talked about.
Very nice. Thank you, Anna. Liliana, your wrapping up words.
I would just like also to thank you and ASSIPI again, and for all of us to be here. It was really great. And I would eventually ask Anna if she is willing to write about what she spoke here, which I think is very important, and maybe we can publish that.
Of course.
That's a very good
That would be, do an article on this. I think it's very interesting, very, very relevant.
Yes. Adina.
Well, of course that I want to thank you very much, and I finish saying, come to Romania. We are waiting for you. Thank you very much.
I will.
We're coming. We're coming. We're coming.
I will sometime.
I'm here.
All right. Okay. That's right. So we have to finish our conversation. Unfortunately, as I said, this topic is so nice and it's so intriguing and interesting, rich and fascinating to know more about this country. But unfortunately, our time is over. But just saying that next Let's Talk, right, in September, will be about researching beyond the senses. We are going to talk about unveiling paraperceptions with the team of ASSIPI Cons. What is this? This is a Center of Research in Parapsychology at ASSIPI. It's brand new. It's starting a fantastic work in researching paraperceptions. And we have the people from the ASSIPI Cons and the Center of Research from ASSIPI talking about paraperceptions. Don't miss it. It will be fantastic as well. People, have a nice day. Have a nice Sunday. Nice weekend. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for the questions placed in the comment section. And I wait for you at the next Let's Talk. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.